Hello there, lovely people. My name is Sophia, and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. Today I'm building an Evergreen Harbour. I'm pretty sure this is the Conifer Station neighbourhood, and we're building on the Sprucewood Square lot today, which is originally a community space, but I decided to turn it into a little university campus of sorts, because in The Sims 4, we only have 2 universities and we can't make universities or anything like that. So you really only have Foxbury and Brightchester, and they are both in the world of Brightchester. And I find in my gameplay that sending my university students to Brightchester over and over again gets really, really boring. So I like to imagine that certain worlds offer certain degrees with specializations and such, so I can send my Sims to university elsewhere. And I've always pictured Evergreen Harbour as a place where your Sims could go and get an engineering degree, maybe like something to do with architecture or just eco stuff, because that's pretty much the whole vibe of Evergreen Harbour. So I wanted to build a little university campus so that I could use, but if other people like playing with university in The Sims the way I do, I figured it would be fun to share. And this build took me ages. I didn't even film everything I did, and I had like 5 hours worth of footage for this. So it's a really big build, and it's so big because I wanted this lot to be able to function as either a commons or a dormitory. So your Sims can either live here or you can designate it as a commons, and this lot meets the requirements for both of those lot types. So you can run it as either or, just depending on how you want to play with it. This building on the left hand side here is the housing portion where the bedrooms and stuff are, living room, kitchen, and then the other building holds the workshop, because since this is targeted towards Foxbury, explaining all of the red that's in this build, because at the end of the day you really only have Foxbury and Brightchester to choose from, and their colors are red and green. And I thought that Foxbury with the robotics matched what I was envisioning for this sort of campus in this world perfectly. So there's lots of red, and there's also a robotics workshop, and in the robotics workshop I included some of the skill building items from Eco Lifestyle, like the fabricating machine and the recycler, just because I thought it fit perfectly, it filled up the space. And in that right hand building there is also a cafeteria, because if you want to run this as a commons you are going to need the cafeteria station. So I made a dining area, cafeteria. I've never made one of those before and it was kind of fun. So there's lots to do on this lot. It's really big. There ends up being 5 bedrooms in the dorm, and how many bathrooms in there? I'm pretty sure 3 bathrooms in the dorm building, and then the workshop also has a bathroom to it. And the upper story of the workshop ends up being a little library, just chilling out zone. I wasn't really sure what to do with it, but I don't show it on camera because it was very simple, but you'll be able to see it in the screenshots. But for now I'm just working on the facade of this building. As you can see, I wanted it to be very modern because it fits with Evergreen Harbour perfectly, and it also meshes really well with just the Foxbury Institute and their whole vibe. And I'm just grabbing out some trees here because we are in Evergreen Harbour. You gotta have your evergreen trees, and I'm just really happy with how this build came out. I don't do modern builds very frequently, but I feel like they fit perfectly into Evergreen Harbour, especially this part of the world for some reason. I don't know, pretty much all of the world works for modern stuff, in my opinion, even though I feel like the port area, I was about to call it the harbour area, but I guess that still makes sense. Like Port Promise, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. That area fits more industrial builds in my mind, but the other 2 neighborhoods are great for modern stuff. And over here I'm just working out a little car park because I imagine people are going to drive here, and there's lots of open space. I put a mural on the floor. I put that little blue sign there, imagining that maybe there's a shuttle that runs to this lot or something like that. And over here I end up getting this little coffee stool, which you can find on the Foxbury campus, but I just felt like placing it down here. I don't think that will be like, what word am I looking for here? I don't think there'll be any sim to man this station when you load up this lot, especially not if you have it as a dormitory, but you can always just hire someone to sell you overpriced Foxbury coffee if you would like to. But I think it looks really cool over here. There's lots of outdoor space on this lot, and I kept the landscaping so simple. I literally used 3 different plants in the landscaping, and that's about it. I used those flowers and 2 different types of grasses, all from base game. I wanted to keep it simple because I just didn't feel like a building like this, which is more of a community lot, would overdo it with the landscaping, honestly. So I just kept it pretty simple, but I put a few mailboxes over here out the front. This ends up being the front door to the main dorm building, even though there's like 4 doors into it from the outside, just because accessibility is a big thing in these developments, especially if they are modern, and I kind of just wanted to replicate that. And also you can see me pulling out these leafy wall decals, which are from Romantic Garden, and I thought they worked really well here because I used these Realm of Magic round windows just to look modern and strange. I didn't there wasn't any rhyme or reason to how I placed them on this upper story here, because I've seen modern developments with this sort of vibe to them before, and I think it looked really cool and I think it matched well. But the Romantic Garden leaf things, I kept giggling every time I pulled them out because they are called artisanal lattice, or like that's their name in the catalog. But because I only ever used the green swatch, and because I'm really bad at reading, the first time I read them, I thought it was called artisanal lettuce, and now that is what that object is called permanently in my mind. So I think that's funny. It's really not that funny, but that's just something that makes me smile anytime I use that object. But I do end up getting quite a few activities outside. I end up getting a basketball hoop, and on this wall here I end up grabbing a wall mural from City Living that your Sims can actually paint, because it's a fun activity. I felt like it fit the vibe of this sort of campus, and there was just a big empty wall here that I didn't know what to fill it with, and I do place quite a few Foxbury crests on this lot just because, I don't know, university spirit, that's kind of a really important part of university in The Sims 4. Like, the mascot is everywhere, and it's all about the color schemes, so I had to put it in there, and I just thought it looked really good. I end up combining it with some doors from City Living, I believe, and it really does look like the crest is built into the doors, and I just thought it was perfect. But I added a few eco objects on the top of this structure here, as you can see. We've got some wind turbines, and I also end up getting some solar panels on top of the dormitory building in the red color, which I've never used before, which was really fun. But I don't think I placed the solar panels on camera. But under here, under this little covered area I'm placing down here, I get a few picnic tables just because in public spaces they really do prioritize sitting areas and just places to hang out. So I wanted to do that as well. I end up getting a vending machine from Snowy Escape over here because I'm playing with a sim in university right now, and those vending machines are they're just really useful because they're a place that your Sims can buy coffee at without having to go to a cafe, because I never place cafes down, and sometimes I don't want to go all the way to Windenburg for my Sims to grab a coffee, but you can get one from that vending machine, which I thought was fun. But I just added a little bit of terrain paint over here and some fencing, and now we've moved over to this area of the build, which ends up having some more of those circular windows I used before, and on the outside area I end up placing just a few ping pong tables and some umbrellas and chairs. It's just a really cool place to sit down and just hang out with your mates, because thanks to Discover University giving us these ping pong tables with that expansion pack, I just permanently associate ping pong with university now. So anytime I do any sort of university related build, I have to place a ping pong table, and this one has 2. And these are some chairs from Get Together that I placed down just to fill up the space. I just wanted there to be lots of places for your Sims to hang out, because your Sims do a lot of sitting down while they're in university, doing homework, writing papers, stuff like that. So there's plenty of places to choose from here. But this is that workshop I was talking about. Through those glass windows there in the door is the cafeteria, but in here is the robotics workshop and just workshop in general. I thought it was really fun in here. I ended up using quite a bit of Get to Work, because Get to Work is perfect if you like building community lots or anything remotely industrial. It just has so much good stuff in here, and I really like how this room came out. I did struggle with what to put on the walls in here, and you're probably going to see that. I make a few cuts just because I couldn't make up my mind. And I also added some plants in here that's not realistic at all. That is honestly a fire hazard to have in a workshop, but it looks good in The Sims, and surprisingly, your Sims can't set anything on fire with the robotic skill. They can only get electrocuted, which is still bad, but not as harmful as I thought it would be. It would have been a nightmare if the Sims team made it possible for your Sims to light themselves on fire while using the robotics station. That would have been terrible. But thankfully they can't set anything on fire, so won't have to worry about that, which I just thought it was a funny idea, honestly. But I had a bookcase over here. I don't think I've ever used this bookcase before. I'm pretty sure it's from City Living, and I've never used it before, and it's a really funky shape, and it had a swatch that matched perfectly for this space. But over here I get this sort of divider from Discovery University. It looks like it can slide up to, I don't know, block off more of the space. I've just seen those in scientific workshops and such before, so thought it was a realistic touch to add in here. But these are the eco lifestyle objects I was talking about earlier. We got the fabricator over here and a recycler, just because I thought it fit the vibe, it fit the world, and it filled up the space nicely because, oh boy, there's a lot of space in this build. Because I just smacked my microphone, so don't mind me. But I built this on a very large lot. Sprucewood Square is a 40 by 30 lot, so there's a lot of room in here. So it took me a little while to work it out, to figure out what I wanted to place on this lot and fill it up to the best of my abilities. But this is the study area. I end up placing a research machine and one PC, but otherwise I left all of the desk spaces on this lot unoccupied. Like, there's no more computers or anything here, because when you send your Sims to university, I'm going to assume you've already bought them a laptop, just because it's really good for university in real life and in The Sims to have a laptop. And the NPC, like, students who spawn when you're in Discovery University, like other university students, they spawn in with their homework and a, like, what's it called, laptop in their inventory already. So I thought it would just make this lot unnecessarily expensive to add like 6 computers, and your Sims will just get their own. It's not too big of a deal, but I thought it was important to have a computer lab somewhere with at least one PC, just in case your Sims, well, don't have a computer, because especially if you're just starting out in your legacy, like, computers are really expensive in The Sims, so I wouldn't blame you for not having one, but they are really useful for the university system in The Sims 4, so I'd recommend getting one if you haven't. But I struggle with what to put on the walls once again. I just ended up placing these sconces everywhere because I think they fit the industrial vibe perfectly, and they just fill up wall space. It's really good. And speaking of the walls, I use this like paneling from Island Living, which is so pretty in this bright orange color, which is a lot, but I paired it with lots of black, so I felt like it wasn't too overwhelming, and it worked really well in here. I also used it in the dormitory building, but behind this ladder and stuff here are the bathrooms. I did them off camera just because I really struggled to decide on the layout of the bathrooms, but they're really simple. I show one bathroom when we're decorating the dormitory, but it's nothing too crazy, and at the top of that ladder there is the, like, library chill out space upstairs. I just didn't find the importance in showing it on camera, especially because this is a really long video and I didn't want it to be really long. But anyways, this is the cafeteria section, and I struggled with deciding how I wanted to lay out the tables, so you might see me make a few cuts here and there, but I end up getting a sofa over there by the windows, and there ends up being, I'm pretty sure, 4 tables in here at the end. I use some chairs from Dream Home Decorator because I just love those stools, man. They are so good. They come in so many nice swatches, and I'm just really happy with how this room came out. Of course, I have the cafeteria station itself in here because you kind of need one of those if you want to run the slot as a commons. And I really actually like that part of Discover University. I like how the meals change out every day. It's just something that I find kind of novel and fun when I'm playing through university with my Sims, because I've been doing that a lot more than I used to recently, because beforehand in my like legacies and such, I'd only send my Sims to university if they had the academic aspiration, but I've just been sending them to university because I can now, and it's actually been really fun. Thanks to the power of mods recently, I just sent my sim to university in Salvadorada, which was great fun. And honestly, if you can get the venue changes and all worlds are residential mods by Zerbu, I'm pretty sure is how you pronounce their name, I would totally recommend it. Opens up so much more possibilities for gameplay. But anyways, this is the little kitchen area, and speaking of kitchens, there is one in the main dormitory building, but I didn't place a stove in there because you're not allowed to place a stove or a barbecue on a commons lot, and I wanted this lot to be able to function as, you know, commons, dormitory, whatever. And I forgot to place a sink in the kitchen in the dormitory building. And I haven't done it yet, but I'm definitely going to place a sink in there because that's very inconvenient. But I'm just getting some simple decorations on the tables in here, and I can't remember where we're going next. Honestly, we might be moving to the living room inside of the dormitory, which is massive. The dormitory building is so big. I did not expect it to be that large, but it is just massive. Like, see, do you see how big this room is? I usually build much smaller homes, so this was a lot for me, and I just wanted this building to be very, very vibrant and very colorful. I don't know why, but I was just in the mood for some vibrant colors. There's lots of yellow and orange, and I bring in a bit more red as we go through the rest of this build. So like, I just think it's really cool. If you catch me stuttering over my words, I apologize. I have started and stopped this voiceover so many times now, but my voice is dying from it because, as you can see, this is a really long video, so I don't really want to talk for more than an hour. Honestly, I don't want to do that for my poor voice box, so if I make grammatical errors, I am very sorry, but I am quite happy with how this living room came out. I think it looks really cool in the end. I used these couches from Discovery University. They're pretty nice. They're nice and simple, and I feel like they fit great for a dormitory. The only reason I don't use them more often is because the only swatches they have are very, very vibrant, and there aren't a whole lot of swatches, so I don't use them as often as I could, but I think they worked really well in here. I used tons of Dream Home Decorator in this build because I use Dream Home Decorator all the time. I'm pretty sure it's my favorite game pack, honestly. I don't even care if I don't use the gameplay. It is just my absolute favorite game pack. But I made a built-in area under the stairs here just because I thought it looked cool with a hanging plant, and I was happy to realize that this hanging plant did not block my Sim's access up the staircase, and I just get a pride flag and some posters in here, just stuff I would expect in a dormitory, or I don't know, one that's clearly not highly monitored by any nasty professors or whatever, just because this is real colorful and real messy, you know. And I don't know how realistic that is. Don't mind me taking a drink, my voice box is killing me. But one thing that I really did enjoy doing in this lot is decorating these round windows here with a bunch of posters and stickers and little, like, phrases that I can imagine that the Sims living in this dormitory wrote down. I just thought it was cool. I doubt they're allowed to do that, but they do it anyways, and I just think it looks really neat. And there's tons of plants in here. That is not realistic at all for a dormitory, honestly, because university students aren't going to have the time to water all of these plants. If anything, they'd all be fake, but it's The Sims, so it doesn't really matter. But over here, I made this little built-in area. I don't really know what to call it. It's just, this is the games room portion of the living room. I get a foosball table in here, and of course the dartboard. Both are from Get Together, and I just really like this built-in situation, using some cabinets from Dream Home Decorator paired with that wall mural from Snowy Escape, which I used a couple of times in this build, in different swatches of course, but it's really cool. I don't use it very often just because it's big and it's vibrant, and I just don't get an excuse to use murals very often, but I love how it worked in here. And I just get some clutter and some sports equipment and just stuff you'd expect to see lying around in a dormitory, I guess. But those curtains are from My Wedding Stories. I didn't use much from that pack in here, but I did use a little bit, and because of that, I don't know, this build used so many packs. So if you don't have many packs, this is definitely not the build for you. I'm very sorry. I did just do a base game build pretty recently though, so if you only have limited packs, I recommend checking that one out, but this one is probably not for you if you don't have many packs, because I think I used every single pack I own in this build, mostly because it was mostly for me, honestly. I'm going to be using this in my gameplay, so I thought, why not just use all the stuff I have available to me to make it the best I can? That is my cat yowling. Hi, cat! Please be quiet. Anyways, this is the entryway to the building, and I think it looks really good, but I used this hanging light from the Moschino stuff pack, which I think worked really well in here. I forgot that I used this light from the Moschino pack, and then as I was decorating the rest of the build, I was trying not to use Moschino to keep the list of packs I was using down a bit, but I'd completely forgotten I used this light, so if you don't have Moschino, you're only going to be missing this fancy light in the foyer, so not a big deal there, but I just clutter up a few places in this build that I don't really show the cluttering of on camera. And once again, my voiceover is rated by my sweet cat. I do apologize, but I cut out quite a bit of my cluttering just because it was taking a while, and this video was really long. I don't even know how long this is going to be after I've done the screenshots for this, because there's going to be a lot of screenshots because there's lots of rooms in this build, so I don't know what I'm going to do there, but I do like how this entryway came out. I just get a few armchairs and just a mirror. I think I also get some temperature controls in here and maybe a fire alarm, but I might be wrong about that. Can't really remember. I started building this about 3 months ago, and I kind of forgot about it, or I gave up and couldn't be bothered finishing it, but I came back to it just recently because, I don't know, I was just scrounging around my build save looking for anything I'd forgotten about, because I forget about things frequently, and I found it again, and I'm very happy I decided to pick it back up, because I do like how it came out in the end. But this is the only bathroom I'm showing on camera. As you can see, it's very dormitory-esque. There are some shower stools, there's 2 bathroom stools, and the other bathrooms pretty much all look like this. There's another bathroom on the ground floor here that doesn't have any showers in it, but the bathroom upstairs does have 3 showers and 2 toilet stools. I'm pretty sure there's like, I don't know, 10 toilets? Actually, like the plumbing itself, 10 toilets on this lot, which is a lot, but I thought it fit just because, you know, it's a community lot and all of your Sims need to pee all of the time, so I didn't see any harm in it. But this is the kitchen for the inside. There's no stove in here, like I mentioned before, and I forgot to place a sink, so I'm gonna have to come back in here and place a sink on the island piece because it's a big island. I was struggling with it because I didn't know how to break it up, because I forgot that I could have just placed a sink, but I am very happy with how this kitchen came out. I had a lot of fun decorating it. I also cluttered it up quite a bit just because I thought it was fun, but I did end up using a really funky feature wall in here. This wall is from Spa Day. I think it's some sort of fluorescent wallpaper. It's probably a light source. I'm not sure on that though. And I thought it looked cool in here. I've never used it before in my life, and I probably won't use it again, but I thought it was cool. And because this is a dormitory and you can't have a stove, I always like to overcompensate by placing literally every single other appliance I can think of. So you got the coffee makers, you got a microwave, you have a dishwasher. I also end up getting a teapot in here, and you will have a sink in the end. So lots and lots of stuff in this kitchen. And of course there's enough empty counters on the island piece for you to cook, even though it's not like you can really cook anything other than fruit salad and garden salad just because there's no stove. I think that's a really silly requirement for the dormitory lot type, or the student housing lot type. I don't remember what it's called exactly, but I think it's really dumb that they make that happen, just because I understand the Sims team wanting you to get your Sims to go out and interact with the campus more, but at the end of the day, I just want my Sims to make some mac and cheese and not fail their finals, and having a stove would make that a lot easier, so, you know. But anyways, I added a booth from Dine out in here because I never used them, and I thought it looked cool in here. I didn't end up having to change the orientation of the table for the booths to actually act as booths, as in your Sims will have to scoot around to have a seat there, but you can see me struggling with the kitchen. Not with the kitchen. For once, I didn't struggle with the kitchen, so I don't know why I'm saying that, but I was struggling with the curtains in here just because I didn't know what to do, and I used my first pet stuff in this build purely because of the blinds. And then because I was using it for the blinds, I just decided to just use whatever I wanted from that pack, because I hate to say it, but My First Pet stuff actually has some really nice things that I use quite frequently. I know it was a very controversial pack and still is, and I don't think the Sims team is going to do something like that again, but I actually like My First Pet stuff. I think it's cool. I took ages to get it just because of all the hate around it, so it gave me second thoughts about spending my money on it, but in the end I'm happy I got that pack because it's pretty cute. I do like it, but I add a few dining tables in here. I didn't want it to be too crazy, mostly because there's a cafeteria right across the way, so you didn't really need tons of dining tables in here, but again, if you're running this as a dormitory and not a commons, it might be a little bit strange for your Sims to have to go outside and enter another building to get their morning cereal, if you know what I mean. So I do like how this room came out. It is massive. I used tons of these dividers from Spa Day in this build because I think they're really cool. Those big doors that I used on the bottom floor are also from Spa Day, and they're really neat. I've never used them before. They're very niche, but I feel like they do fit perfectly into modern builds, so I was happy to use them here. But this ends up being another sort of game room, chill out space of sorts. I end up getting one desk in here, and then I also end up adding a TV and a video games console because I thought it would be a fun activity. I don't think I added the console into the living room, so I just thought it would be fun for you to, you know, get your Sims to play games with their roommates. It might be a good way to build up a relationship with them, because sometimes, especially if you have a lot of courses, your Sims can really just completely ignore the people they live with, which is kind of sad, but a little bit true to life, in all honesty, with how university students normally operate. But I do like how this room came out. There's a few motivational posters in here, like this one with the dog on it. I think it's adorable. I just find those posters to be really ironic. I don't know, I can't take them seriously, but I think they're cute anyways, and it brought a smile to my face while I was decorating this room. But I did end up adding quite a few just Foxbury-esque decorations throughout this build. Lots of stuff relating to soccer, lots of stuff relating to robotics, because those are the things that we got with Discover University, and they are like highly intertwined with the university experience. Your Sims can actually join the university soccer team. I had my Sim do that recently. It drained the life out of him, but it was really funny, and it actually made him famous, so thought that was good. But yeah, there's just like tons of little nods to Foxbury in here, even though we are in Evergreen Harbor. But I thought Foxbury was the best fit because Foxbury is the more scientific of the two universities. Foxbury is more focused on the sciences, while Brightchester is more focused on the arts, I'm pretty sure. I think I've only ever actually sent my Sims to Brightchester University though, so I've never actually experienced Foxbury, so I'll have to get on that at some point, because Discover University has been out for years at this point. But anyways, we've moved upstairs, and there are 5 bedrooms up here. I cut out the hallways because they're just hallways. There's a few more sitting areas and a couple of closets, but other than that, nothing interesting. And this is the first bedroom we work on. I imagine these Sims were probably in the Bot Savants, which is a university organization for Foxbury, if you didn't know. So these two are into robotics. I went for a blue color scheme in here. All of the bedrooms have a different color scheme to them, just because it's probably not realistic to have different brightly colored walls in different rooms in dormitories. They'd likely all just have plain white walls, but that's really boring, and this is The Sims, so I wanted to give them all different color schemes, but I did use the exact same wall in each of their rooms, so different swatches of the same eco lifestyle, like concrete. I love this wallpaper. I use it constantly, and it's so many good colors. Love it dearly. But this is a twin room. Some of the bedrooms have only one bed, some have 2 beds, some have double beds, so I wanted to keep it different, just so if you wanted to use this lot, you could find a room that would fit your Sim. But I would highly recommend just swapping out the decorations, because all of the rooms are sort of based on specific personalities. Just because it was fun, it makes it more fun to decorate, and I think it's cool. But I used some kids' room stuff wallpaper in here, because, not wallpaper, wall decorations, because I was already using kids' room stuff for some reason, so I, again, just like with My First Pet stuff, I just decided to use as much of the pack as I could if I was going to include it at all. So I really do like the blue room. It's really fun, but we're working on the orange room now. There ends up being a strong orange color scheme in here, and I imagine the sim who slept in here was absolutely obsessed with fabrication. I also, for some reason, got the vibe that they were kind of stuck up. I don't think this is a very pleasant sim to be around. I imagine they're always hogging the fabricator in the workshop, and I think they are very, very happy that they get this room all to themselves. They have a double bed, and I didn't intend on thinking of personalities for the Sims who lived here, but all of the Sims in their rooms respectively end up having personalities in my mind. I just can't get away from it. I just love making up stories for my Sims, so thought that was fun. And if you hear any strange clacking noises in the background, there is a pigeon that has been trying to enter my house for about 3 days now. It's my neighbor's pet, and it will not leave us alone, and it does enjoy landing on your head, and it is currently fighting for its life to get inside of my home, and I can't make him leave. So apologies if you hear that, but I did end up adding a few skill building activities in here. We have an art easel from Discovery University, as well as a meditation stool, and I just think it's really cool. I did have to move around the location of a few decorations at the foot of the bed just to make sure my sim could access both sides, even though I don't really think it's too important to have both sides of a double bed accessible in a dormitory, just because you're probably not going to be sharing a room and sharing a bed with someone. But I don't know what you do in your gameplay, you do you. But this is probably my favorite room. This is the blue-purple room, not too sure what to call it, but it's probably my favorite. I use this bed from Seasons. I love this bed so much, and I just really like the color scheme in here. I think it looks really cool, and I don't know. I imagine that this sim was probably really into music. I did give them their own desk in here. There are only 2 of the rooms that had their own desks in here. Of course, there's no computer or anything, because I just assumed that the Sims who live here would probably just bring their own PC, but in the end, I did manage to get this room to be fully functional, as in your Sims can access both sides of the bed, sit on this desk, and then also sit on the sofa that I'm going to be placing at the foot of the bed. So that was surprising, because I did place the bed very close to the wall, and I did have to, scooch it back and forth a little bit, but in the end it did end up being fully functional. Made me very happy, and I was very surprised. But used the sofa for my first pet stuff. Never used it before, because it comes in some crazy colors, honestly, with a lot of very childish patterns, honestly. I think these sofas work well in kids' rooms and stuff like that, but they don't really work too well anywhere else. But there are 3 neutral swatches on it, which is the black one. I think there's a yellowy peach color and a red one that are more neutral, or as neutral as, neon red can be. But I think it's a nice sofa, and CC creators have been just absolutely cannibalizing the pillows on that sofa for years now, which I find funny and I can always notice. But we've moved on to another room. This is again a double room, 2 beds in here, and this one is very pink. It's very mint, I don't know, very stereotypically feminine. I did imagine that the 2 Sims who slept in here were best friends, which is why they really did. They didn't have to fight on a color scheme for their dormitory, if you know what I mean. But I do like this room. It's really cute. I probably spent the most time on this one because I ended up placing quite a few pieces of furniture that needed clutter on them, which was a bit of a mistake because this video was really long, so I don't show all of my cluttering here on camera, just a little bit. And I once again used that mural from Snowy Escape in this pretty pink and blue swatch. I'm pretty sure it's of the mountains in Mount Komorebi, so I thought it was cool, and I just really love murals. That's just something that I really like personally, so I always feel happy using them in The Sims. But this is it's a really girly room. It's really sweet. It would work well for teenagers or children, honestly, but because you need to be a young adult to go to university, it's clearly just for some Sims who are really into these sorts of colors and such, and I just think it's a really cute room. I end up placing a Freezer Bunny guitar in here because it's adorable. Love that guitar. I never get to use it. It only has 2 swatches, which is the regular pink Freezer Bunny and then the black skeleton Freezer Bunny. Both are adorable. I need to find a Sim to play one of those guitars because my Sims are currently playing the guitar, but they live in Strangerville, and they're a bit too southern for this sort of cutesy little guitar, so I haven't had a chance to use it yet. But this is the last bedroom we work on, and this is actually the last room we work on at all in the video. After this, I am going to have to wrap some things up here, but this is also one of my favorite rooms. This is the red room. I think it's cool. There's only one bed in here. It's just a single bed, and I imagine the sim who was staying in here was really into music, and they're probably an architecture student, in all honesty. I added the desk from Dream Home Decorator with a few rulers and stuff on it, and I thought it looked cool. I just really like the color scheme in this room. I did like how the dresser and the bed paired with this wallpaper. I just thought it was cool. And once again, I used this piece of artwork from base game because I'm obsessed with it. It is so pretty, and I'm going to be using it all the time. I used a tool mod to switch its orientation because I want it to lie differently on the wall, but I just like this room. I think it's really cute. The rug is from My First Pet stuff. I really do adore this rug. I would use it all the time if I didn't stop myself because it has some really funky swatches, you know, for kids' rooms and such, but there's also quite a few more neutral colors to it. There's even a really pretty sage green swatch, and sage green has been, you know, taking the decorating and just every other world by storm in recent years, honestly, so I'm tempted to use it all the time because I always want to use sage green, but the Sims team hasn't given us much objects in that color, which disappoints me. But anyways, we're probably coming up to the end of this video now, so I should start wrapping up. So if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, or you can leave me a comment to tell me what you think. It would absolutely make my day. I just really love hearing from you guys. It really does make my day, and I know it sounds cheesy, but it does. But anyways, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me in the future, and hit the notification bell so you know every time I upload. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you like this build, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!